After I left Arkansas, I needed parts. I needed to rebuild. I needed to get right back into it. Start the adventure all over again. So I hopped on a ferry. It's nice to enjoy a sunrise and reflect on everything that I had seen the previous 2 weeks. Enjoying time with my friends in the middle of nowhere, out on the road. Enjoying my creative process. Living in this car, living on the road, and enjoying life at 80 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour. And realizing that wishing for do-overs and second chances is a broken dream that you don't need. Floating across the water, thinking about everything, and if it was worth it or not, if I'd do it again. Like I said, you can't look for that do-over, because the chance to do it is right in front of you. And you just have to let the aftermath be the next step towards the next adventure. So after putting a post on the GC8 Owners Association on Facebook, I was put in contact with a few people that had parts that I needed. One in particular was close to me on Vancouver Island, who I had actually bought parts from before. Alrighty, so I've got the hood and the fender, and I got a free blower motor. It turns out that the fella that I bought this stuff from was the same guy that got me my dash harness last year to finish the car for Oregon. So shout out to you, Michael. Thanks again, man. And yeah. Got a fresh hood. It's got a wrap on it that I gotta peel off, and then the fender, and then the blower motor is hidden under the seat. But yeah, I'm really excited. Gonna get this stuff back to the shop. This is good motivation, good for morale. Yeah, I'll see you guys back at the shop. If you saw the perseverance, you'll recognize these shots from when I pulled into the driveway and got the parts home. I had sourced a core support full front end from an OBS wagon, an Outback wagon, from a guy in Harrison Hot Springs who actually ended up to be a really cool hot rodder with a lot of cool cars, and his son was actually learning how to work on cars by parting them out. So got a core support for $200 and the fender and the hood for about $600 Canadian. Brought them home, began planning my week of work, which didn't actually end up being a week. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are once again back in the garage. We are getting back on the GC8. We are gonna fix it from its little endeavor going over the side of a mountain in Arkansas. I've got a new hood for it, new fender, new bumper, lights, the whole shebang. Got a new core support that we have to unspot weld the old one and weld a new one in. I got a ton of work to do. I'm gonna get right to it. We're gonna be hammering on this all week. I'd like to have it driving in like 5 days, but we'll see how it goes. The weather's kind of fighting us right now. It's pretty much snowing outside. It's like freezing rain, hail, and I've got to paint stuff this week, so we'll see how that goes. I did manage to get the hood started. I've stripped everything off of it. It's a JDM aluminum hood. It had like a carbon white wrap on it that was like really old and brittle. Took a lot of work to get it off, and then I just ended up sanding the whole front side of it down, and then also the back side. We're gonna spray the whole thing black to match the car, and we've got to strip a fender, do a bunch of other stuff. I want to get this part of the project done really fast as I possibly can, because I want to get back on the Mustang and continue with the metal work and get down the road enough to swing a BMW M54 in there. So I'd like to have it running and driving, and you know, be able to go out in like inclement weather and slide it around and have fun. Thanks again for joining me in the shop here. If you like what you see so far, please jump down, hit that subscribe button. Check out some of my older videos. There's a lot of cool stuff in the catalog. From previous road trips, previous projects and stuff like that, all the way back to like 2018 when I first started just doing stuff with my GoPro. So all that's out of the way, let's get to it. Fender is pretty well prepped. I'm letting it chill in front of the heater now. I've taped the bench, the heater going so that it brings up the temperature on the piece so that I can like put it out on the table, spray it, bring it back in, bake it, maybe do that once or twice. The fender is all primered, it's good to go, so it's just gonna stay and bake overnight, and then it should be good to spray tomorrow. And then the last thing to do is the bumper, and I think with that I can actually get away with just finishing off with 800 and just spraying it black. I don't really think I need to worry about primer. It said that it was ready to be painted from Subaru, so I'm gonna go with that. And hopefully it works. So we'll see. I'm gonna throw the fender inside to chill for the rest of the day, and then I'm gonna work on getting that inside of that hood completely sprayed black. All right, so the bottom of the hood is done. The fender is inside curing in primer. I've been working on the new core support. Basically, I've been sitting here drilling out spot welds for the last couple hours. Well, been fairly successful. So I got the front apron off the frame. Put that down. So that's giving me a good idea of what I have left to take apart on this. Basically, I need the lower part of the core support, because this one is pretty tweaked. I'll never get that back straight. So I'm working on getting this one out. Probably actually gonna take this to U-blast and sandblast all of it before I repaint it all. Basically, I'm working at, you can see in there, so getting the spot welds under here for this bracket here that connects the bottom part to the frame rails and stuff. So basically we're just gonna unspot weld this beam from the frame rails themselves, and then we'll section that in to where the old one was. And then I need to take this part, basically cutting where this line is here, you can see I have to cut this out, and then along here, because this is all buckled on that side there, you can see it's all destroyed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm basically gonna cut this down here to this line in front of the battery tray, and then clean it all up, and then we're gonna graft it into where that's all damaged in there. Oh man. I was kind of hoping I would just come out here and this would be magically all done on its own, but not gonna be the case this time. Mother Nature is making things interesting for me. We got what the news is calling a bomb cyclone, because they need to, of course, make just regular winter storms sound super dramatic these days. All right, got the hood chilling in front of the buddy heater and the radiant heater. Been moving the radiant heater kind of back and forth to try and get the chill off the aluminum. I got the fender sprayed, the fleet coat, and it actually turned out really well, except for the parts that I f***ed up. I mean, a little chunk of dog hair got in here and I had to pick it out, and then when I hung it up here, I didn't make my hooks out of welding wire long enough, or short enough I should say, and I nicked the bench, which really sucks, and then down there as well. But I can actually touch that up once it's even on the car. It's not too bad. I'm gonna heat up the hood, and then we're gonna primer it, and I'll hopefully remember to turn the camera on and actually show you guys that. So yeah. All right, I had to abandon heating up the hood in here. It's just not, like, you'd move the radiant heater over from where you just heated up, stick your hand on it, it would be dead cold again. So there's no way the primer's gonna stick to that. So I moved it inside with a space heater in front of it, hopefully to get the chill off of it and bring it up to temperature. Quite a while, probably a couple hours. I am going to move the GCA out and turn it back around, bring it back in so the front end is up here, get in position, and then get it on the quick jacks and start tearing apart the front end. really quick, I'm gonna show you the way that I go about cutting these spot welds out. It's better if you can have 2 drills. You want a drill with like a 16-inch bit on it, and then one with the spot weld cutter. And then for one of your drills, you'll also want a wire wheel, because this is gonna help expose spot welds that are covered up by paint or like seam sealer. So like, this is where you wanna start. So like, you can see these ones already, but you can see once I wire wheel it, it exposes a lot more. You can see an outline of the spot weld itself. And then, okay, so there's maybe like one here, a little bit less visible. But you see how it rips the paint off and then it leaves that low area where the spot weld is. It's a good way to identify where they're at. So once you have your spot weld located, you want to take a punch, just get it as close to center as you can, as best you can, mark it, and then you want to take your 16-inch drill bit. You don't have to go all the way through, but if you get a good enough depression that you can keep the bit of the hole saw bit in there without it walking around, it'll be ideal. 16th inch hole through the backside of what you're welding to will also help penetration for when you plug weld it back in, or if you want to re-spot weld it, if you have a spot welder, if you have that capability. It always is helpful. And then you just want to take, sorry, this is a spot welder bit. This guide is spring loaded in there so that it recesses as you drill into it. These thread on to the bit itself. I got a pack of like 100 of these off Amazon for like 20 bucks. Once you got your pilot hole drilled, and that's it. So you can see I've kind of gone through that 16-inch of outer skin, and you know, once you have all your spot welds on a seam done, you can take this. My buddy Alec actually pointed me in these directions. I've been using it for a little while on felony and stuff now too. This is a spot weld chisel. Again, you can buy these pretty much any auto parts store, or you can get them on Amazon, online, at a bunch of places too. And it's just literally a piece of metal that's been beveled on. It's nice and sharp, and you can use it with a mallet. And you can see that. Just make sure you're separated. Before you take it fully off, make sure you hammer it back into shape so you don't lose the shape of the piece you're working on if you need to reuse it. In this case, it doesn't matter because we're just peeling this whole chunk of garbage off. So that's how I kind of undo spot welds. I'm gonna roll the time lapse and we're gonna get to it, start working away at all of these. She's pretty tweaked. All right, so that worked out really good actually. I got those off without too much of a fight. I didn't realize that my rib nuts were actually holding this together, so I had to grind this one down. This one let go somewhat easily. So I've got lots of material there to spot weld back to, and I'm really happy that there's not a lot of corrosion or anything hiding under the seams. So I got, I'm super lucky that I got this car, because this is actually a really rust-free car. If you compare it to, oh, I don't have it with me. If you compare it to this is a local car to the Lower Mainland its whole life. And that's how that seam looks on there compared to that one. Everybody that knows this car, knows me, knows I've driven the shit out of it, and it's been through all kinds of weather, all sorts of terrain, and inside still looks like that as opposed to that. So I guess taking care of it really goes a long way. Moving right along, this is pretty sick. Never in a million years thought that I would see the GC looking like that, but here we are. All right, I'm gonna take a little breather, grab some lunch, and then we'll get right back to it. Piece, so you can see the difference. Straight, tweaked as frig. You're left with a piece that fits perfectly. That is huge progress for today. I can't really make any more noise for the night. My kid's sleeping, my wife's sleeping. I don't want to wake them up with the grinder. So I am going to wait till tomorrow morning and start cleaning all these seams up. I'm going to take these new pieces to U-blast and get them sandblasted and ready to put on the car. Oh, I also have to unspot weld the one apron from that side because we're leaving the stock one here. That's unbelievable. Like it's ready. Like just got a little bit of cutting to do. You know, just got to cut this piece off, cut that piece. Actually, I got to cut that piece before U-blast in the morning because I want to blast the edges of it. We're getting there. This is looking good. Unspot welding is not as arduous a task as I thought it would be. You know, this one was a little bit rough, but the nice thing is because we're not keeping the piece, you can just shred it apart. So I'm really, really stoked on this. I'm gonna go celebrate with a chocolate muffin and call it a night. See you guys later. Came down this morning to grab stuff to go to the sandblasting place and realized I have to cut that piece off to take it to get sandblasted because I'm not gonna take that whole chunk and throw it in the cabinet. I got some decisions to make, but at the very least I'm gonna figure that out, cut that piece, and then we're gonna run to the U-blast with the new core support. Get it all blasted, get it back here, get it primered and ready, weld through primered and ready, and then start mocking it up and cleaning up all the seams and everything to start welding hopefully by tonight. Okay, the fender skirt chunk is pretty well ready to weld in. Just got to clean up along here, which is I got to do with the finger sander because it's too tough to get in with the drill and everything. I'm trying to do this without removing all this wiring, but so I got to sand along here, and then I got all this kind of cleared up. This is all sandblasted, so I can just weld right to it. Just got to scuff it with the wire wheel. This is all cleaned up. Really wanted to have this done like within the week, but I think it's probably gonna lead into next week. It's just a lot of steps. See how far we get tonight. It's a lot of work. All right, it is late. I am back in the shop. I had to go and be a husband and a father and eat, of course. And I passed out for about 20 minutes, so that was probably good. I came back down and started cleaning up the shop a little bit, and then I shot that whole corner with weld through primer, just so everything is ready to weld. It's all been cleaned up, so I'm just sticking the heater in front of it. This stuff is usually set in like 15 minutes before it's ready to weld. And I think to end off tonight, I'm going to try and get that corner piece situated. I'm going to try and tack it together with the TIG welder because I have the length. Oh, I have to replace my torch because my torch head broke, but once I do that, I'm just going to pull the cable over here and I'm going to try to do it with the TIG welder, see how it goes. If I screw it up, I got the MIG welder and I can MIG weld a patch on, no problem. So let me get to it. I'm so stupid, of course, I forgot to turn the camera on. I just got caught up in it. First time using the foot pedal. First time using the foot pedal on the TIG, and I got the piece tacked in. I just did a little bead on this side to make it nice and strong, but I actually got a pretty good run there, and then I just threw a little tack up on the top of the apron here. So now I gotta start working my way all the way down there and across and making it one piece. But I'm gonna throw a couple more tacks on there, and I gotta do something about the plastic because I can't weld that close to the plastic. Might have to get like might throw a piece of steel or something in there. I don't know how I'm gonna get the torch down in there. I actually might have to just bite the bullet and MIG weld that, but if I can TIG weld the rest of it, that'd be pretty sweet. But I'm pretty happy with that so far. So I'll just take my time and try and make it pretty decent. Alrighty, good morning. Well, I don't know what time it is for you, but for me it's, well, actually it's almost noon, but I've been down here all morning welding. I really wanted to TIG weld this piece that I was working on last night into place, and I'm having success. My welds are trash, but they are like together, and they're good. They're not good looking, but they're stuck well. And I mean, if you wanna, you can go ahead and judge me. Been playing with heat. I seem to have more success using higher heat and like a 16th inch filler rod in there. I had a few blowouts that I had to fix, and this one like really got away from me. It's just, don't look too close. I am gonna grind it down and stuff because I do want it to be fairly flat, and I'm also probably gonna weld the seam on the back side of this thing, which will be a lot easier. I actually use the seam to tack a couple spots. Just to keep it from separating, so I tack, and then I'd run on the other side and run the bead. It's not amazing, but it's all together and strong, and like I can move the whole car with it now. So almost done that, and then we'll spray back over it with primer, and that's going to be good to go. And then we can start working on the core support itself. Probably put the lower one in first, get it all straightened out, get everything primered and ready, and then we're just going to plug weld all that, so that's going to go a lot quicker. And then the core support itself will go quick because that's all plug welding, not TIG welding, which is taking me forever, but I need the practice. This is good practice for like funny angles and stuff, so I'm glad I did it. But before I get back to that, I'm taking a break and I'm going to primer the hood because it's not raining out. And this thing is ready to go, so I'm going to get a layer of self-etching primer on there, and then let that cure overnight, and we'll paint it tomorrow. Ready to rock and roll. This is one of those, I don't know why I didn't do it sooner things, but I got the entire harness evacuated from this corner, so fuse box stuff is all out of the way, the alternator hookup is out of the way, and the main engine harness is gone. It's just all dangling there out of the way so that I have access to weld up this seam. I got the top piece done because it was easy, and you know how to do it for the gram. It's actually not too bad. Good I think I got good joint there. And then this part here is the last bit that I have to weld. And it's going to be the hardest because it's got a bit of a weird overlap. So I'll have to kind of hit it from like this angle with the torch, beating wire like over top of this bevel. So it's going to be kind of strange, but gotta do what I gotta do. All right, that is done. Finally. I'm probably gonna seam seal over it anyways, but kind of neat to look at. I can remember how shitty I am at TIG welding if I ever get better. It's all one piece, nice and solid. We're good to go. I'll take a break from welding for a minute and spray the bumper because, yeah, I'd like to get that done. Bad for spraying it underneath my porch. That's gonna sit there and dry as long as it doesn't rain. Right now on the front, I'm starting to put in the lower core support. Spend some time with the hammer and dolly there, and then clean that up, finish it all off. Damn good day to have a good day. Sun is shining. I'm gonna get the hood on the table out front and put the coat of black on it. And then I'm gonna continue working on the front here. The lower core support is pretty much welded in. I'm gonna flatten out some shitty plug welds that I did. And I'm actually gonna stitch the seams, just make it a little bit stronger. Decided last night, like if it comes apart ever again, I'm just gonna cut the front off and tube it. I do have to weld through primer pretty much the entire thing so that it's protected from corrosion and stuff. I got a whole lot to do. I'm not gonna make my 1 week deadline, but I'm just gonna keep jamming on this. I'm gonna make it a car, and we're gonna get on the road and drive it. So let's get to it. Okay, everything I'm pretty sure is ready, and I'm gonna put the core support on here and mock it up for the last time, and then I'm gonna weld it on. Almost done. Well, the core support is now a part of the car. I'm not totally done welding. I have a few spots down this seam, and then one guy right there, two on the center support, and then I got to patch this hole here and this hole here that I forgot about that I ripped through with the spot weld cutter in the first place. The hood is inside curing. The bumper is still kind of tacky from yesterday. I reckon that's because it's on plastic and it's just not hardening up as fast, I guess. And it was a lot colder yesterday, so it didn't quite get as much heat. Man, I tore it apart on Sunday night, and here we are. We've got a core support back in it. And aside from like the seam sealer and the paint, I could throw everything back on now. It's kind of crazy. So hyped. One piece. Man, when it went over the embankment in Arkansas, I did not think I would be able to get back to this point. So I'm super stoked. Anyway, I'm gonna go do stuff. See you in a bit. I'm back in the shop. Over the weekend, I ran out of welding gas for the MIG. I'm doing the plug welds on the entire front core support. I ran out to the welding store this morning, got a bottle filled, and all the welds are done. This thing is 100% in place. All right, I'm gonna get to work, start doing some seam sealing, caulking, and let's make this thing a car again. All right, very, very productive day. It's all one color. Everything is welded, everything is seam sealed, everything is painted. I just found some alabaster silver or something like that. Can't remember the color. It's like a metallic silver that I used to spray the engine bay before. It blended in with the blue that was there. You can see it's blended in there and up in here a little bit. Very shiny. Most of it's gonna be covered up anyways. I cleaned up all in here really well. Down in the back of the core support, looks all good. Everything's got coverage. I've actually got to sand the top because it caused some wrinkling with that other paint that I tried out. Also straightened out the bash bar as best as I could. This mounting hole, cut to the footage of the bumper. I test fitted the bumper on here, and this hole actually needs to be over here and out that way a bit. I'm gonna fiddle with this crash bar and try and get it as straight as I can, get it zapped together again. And then gonna probably see you tomorrow when we're starting to fit everything back on the car. Alrighty, I haven't actually picked up the camera in like 2 days. I've been slamming on this thing every spare minute. I'll run you down. The bumper beam is in and mounted. It's coated in some trem clad. I just rolled on and brushed on some shit to cover it and stop it from rusting. The hood latch is in. Radiator's in with new stays that I made out of aluminum with some stainless hardware to bolt it in like the factory bolting location, because the GC radiator will be different than this is the GD, so I just made these to adapt it. Airbox is back in. I rerouted some wiring because this whole tuft of wiring in here was all bundled in behind here and actually like hitting the boost control solenoid. So all I did was I cut the boost control solenoid harness back in this main harness here, and I just folded it backwards on itself, routed it through the airbox, and I also hard mounted the airbox. I redid all the loom in this braided stuff. This braided sheathing made it a lot more malleable, easier to route. Start to assemble all the main panels. I'm gonna put the fenders on first, get those situated, and the very last thing I have to make, which I'll probably do first, is I have to make a battery box. So I'm gonna do that first, and then we're gonna throw panels on the car. I don't know how much of that last shot got recorded, but my memory card ran dry and I had to go and switch and do a couple other things. But so far, this car, front end, I mocked up the grill and everything. I tossed the bumper on, but I'm not gonna show you yet. Mocked everything up and it fits better than it did before. The old bumper was really warped and like saggy and the holes were all like pooched out just from age. And this new OEM bumper, new lights, everything, and the bash bar actually fits better than it did for some reason. Everything lined up great. The only thing that I really have to adjust is this door gap here. It's a little bit too far away for comfort, so I just have to basically loosen this off. I'm gonna waller out that mounting hole and slide that back a bit, and then the top bolt as well, because there's a little bit of like a bow right here in the fender. So that'll flatten it out and push it back just that. Needs like a 16th and we'll be good. I don't know how I'll get to the stripes tonight. I'm gonna try my best, but basically I'm gonna throw the bumper on now. I have to take the lights back off to mount the bumper properly. Do that, I have to drill. Actually, I might drill for the fog lights first and mount the fog lights in there before I put this guy in there, but yeah, I'm getting really excited. Well, shit, that don't look too bad. Still gotta do stripes, of course, and I got the grills and the vent to put on a latch, but that's all the panels. I gotta fiddle with some gaps and stuff like that, massage some things, get a hood strut in there. Then we're gonna go drive it. See you guys on the road. Probably barely see me. Everything's on, everything's done. Rolled it down the hill to the bottom of the street here where there's no houses to start up and bleed the coolant because it's like almost midnight. I don't want to drive it, so I'm just gonna let it bleed for a few minutes, get up the temp, let the thermostat open and cycle, and it's burning coolant off the front that spilled before. It's running, everything's good. When I started up, it started up great. I guess I'm just gonna wait here for a few minutes, see if everything is hunky-dory, and then go for a drive. Alright, well, I did a 3/4 pull and then looked down and the AFR gauge said that after a massive backfire. So I think I lost my O2 sensor, and the car is kind of running. Not great. It was running fine, and then did a pull and it, bam! As soon as I shifted in fourth, it just was like it loaded up on fuel or something. So anyway, I mean, other than that, success. It's barely wanting to run right now, so I'm gonna limp it home. Probably get back at this tomorrow and see what's up. All right, it's the next morning. Ran down to Mopac, our local performance warehouse, and grabbed a replacement O2 sensor. The car fired up. It was super rich on startup, as it should be. Everything was reading, and then it did its heat cycle, started up, gauge reads fine, the car's running perfectly. I'm gonna let it warm up, make sure the coolant's still good. I'm gonna go for a drive. Hopefully everything's good this time. didn't get to stripe it or number it, and I didn't get a bunch of driving footage like I wanted. I'm out of time. I got family coming to visit and friends coming to visit, and I got to get this episode out. I've been working on it for almost 2 weeks at this point, and I don't want to leave you guys hanging. So here it is. The GC is back in action. It's driving. It's got other things that I got to work on, but you know, it's running, it's driving, and it's back together. I literally welded that front end together myself. I could not be happier. The car it looks wonderful. So we'll be doing a GC8 update video in the next couple weeks here. Next week, we're jumping back on the Mustang. We're gonna get going on the metal work. This thing was definitely a wrench in the gears. I lost those 2 weeks in metal work to this, but really good practice. It was really good ideas, working on small aluminum parts and stuff like that. Really gave me some inspiration for the Mustang build. Really excited to get going and start putting my ideas on paper, on metal with that car. For now, I'm gonna take this thing for a drive around town, grab a coffee, go enjoy it for a little bit. Guys, I cannot thank you enough for following along on this entire journey, from the build up to Utah, the build up to Power Tour and Arkansas, all the way to all the craziness that happened on the road out there. Putting this thing back together, getting it back on the road, and having it to enjoy for the rest of the winter into next year. Got lots of plans with it, lots of cool ideas. I can't wait to share them with you. As always, please be kind, drive hard, and at some point, maybe in the GC, maybe in a BMW powered Mustang, maybe in the Verdict, maybe in the GTI, I don't know, maybe in the middle of my hometown or in the middle of nowhere. I will see you on the road. Have a good one.